Hello friends, you're listening to Profoundish. I'm your host today, Weston. I'll be joined by Alex. Today we're talking about obsessions, sometimes odd, sometimes normal, and then finishing with a game of ranking the top 10 strangest addictions as according to the internet. Stay tuned, and you're listening to Profoundish.
Sam?
I'm like sliding onto stage right now. The crowd's going wild.
Okay, so when you slid on the stage, are you like on your knees sliding on the stage, like to the front? I want the visual here.
No, I'm in my socks and I'm doing like that sideways
the
slide
rockin' da 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 da, and you're wearing the white shirt and underwear, and that's it.
I'm actually in like the really dark royal blue like suit and tie. Because it's like a game show or something.
But you're sliding in like that famous
Yeah, sliding
scene.
in. Yeah, I'm in socks, though. Like, just white tube socks with that suit get-up.
Okay, so this is why I like to know the visual, because when you said sliding in on stage, I was thinking of, like, oh, yeah! Like the rock star, and he's on his knees, and he's got, like, the horns up with his hands, you know, and he's, like, sliding up front. That's what I was thinking.
I'm not a rock star, I guess.
You just so you go to that.
Speaking I was imagining more like a sparkly, bedazzled suit. We're about to do a game show.
I mean, that's kind of fitting for both of us, though. I'd say that'd be kind of where you visualize it going. You slide in, it's, hey, you know, you're the game show, and then I'm the rock star. I think it makes sense. But you know what's funny, though? I don't know where that scene is from. I know it's Tom Cruise, right?
I don't have any idea. It's from a movie. I can tell you that.
I know it's like iconic because obviously it's like him and he's got like the white button-down shirt and he's in his underwear and he's got socks on and he slides in. And
I'm just going to literally Google movie with sliding guy in underwear.
I think it's Tom Cruise. Do that. Yeah, I want to see what pops up for that.
It's Tom Cruise from Risky Business.
Risky Business. Never seen it. Okay.
He bops and struts around the room in a manic dance to freedom and privacy and general lewdness. Tom Cruise in Risky Business. That's the description.
I would love a full description like that of like just these iconic classic movies. I wonder if I wonder if that'd be pretty funny to read if we had like did it through like Chat GPT or something. Just have it like give me a description of the entire movie, not a synopsis. I guess that's kind of the same thing, right?
Like I've never used Chat GPT. I should, but can you do that? Like, you know, on Twitter, there's the what's in this picture? Wrong answers only, or whatever. I want that, but it's like describe Risky Business. Wrong answers only.
Honestly, I'd probably ask it that and see what it would do. It's pretty interesting. I'm surprised you haven't used it yet. I got an account. I made an account with it like a week or two ago, and I've just been playing around and because like. You know, there's a lot of hype around it and other kind of AI tech right now, right? That's kind of pretty popular at the moment. And so my expectations were actually significantly lower than I actually received. And I'm very surprised. And maybe it's because I kind of kept out of the loop. I just knew people were talking about it, but I didn't look anything on it. It is incredible. Like this is not new information. People have been using, you know, public has been using it for a while now, but I just went on there, and the first thing I did, I wanted to try and trick it from, or not trick it, but just give it something weird from the get-go. So what I literally asked it, this is almost verbatim, it was, write me the script to a movie trailer, like write me a movie trailer about cheese, right? And it did it, and it was like really good, and it had like, or maybe I said block it out. I think I said block it out because it actually gave me the blocking for it. So it said, you know, camera pans in, light shine, you know, it actually talks about like the whole script. It was, you know, light shines on a piece of cheese, provolone to be exact. And it like goes into this whole thing.
Ooh.
It's actually really interesting. So I definitely recommend. We could probably get some sort of cool episode out of it too, just like, or something. Because I also, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, I know that's like what everyone's doing on the internet right now. All the YouTubers or whatever are like, this video was made using AI.
Right. You know, there, or people have been doing like these, I saw one during Christmas time last year about, like, I wrote a Christmas movie, or Chat GPT did, and then, like, they animated it, and it was really funny, just kind of how it plays it out. It's just so interesting. I was thinking about using it for, like, a jam and chat, like I have it write a song, and then I just make the music to it or something. That might be fun.
That's a good idea especially since you do it improv. So, like, it doesn't have to be polished. It's just literally, we're making this up right now, and I'm playing it right now. So
right. Actually, I might try that pretty soon. I might do a whole episode about it, just like using Chat GPT to, write the lyrics to my songs for me or something.
This improv music comedy show was made by AI.
Exactly.
That's the title.
Yeah, check it out though. That's a good title. And then I have, I have a thumbnail, and it's zoomed up on my face, and I, like the Kevin McAllister look, with just something like that make people go, "What's he doing?" Highlight my face with like a white border, add a shadow, add arrows,
red arrows and red circles.
Yeah, right.
Everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Total side thing. Sorry, but I just thought of this. It's so funny. So, like, I work for a company, and I do their. I mean, I know you know this, but for those of you who are new listening, my day job, I work for a company, and I do, like, their digital marketing for them, and they're in the home improvement industry, and I can track where, like, our ads go, like where they most prominently end up on YouTube, and one of them ended, like most of them actually end up on. I don't know why. I mean, others don't, but some of the most prominent ones are, like, super clickbaity yet home improvement videos. So, like, I don't expect home improvement videos on YouTube to be like, "You won't believe what I did to this door," or something, and then it's got, like, an arrow point. But it works. They have a lot of views.
I want to know what they did to that door, and if I'm gonna believe it. Which door? Oh, the one that they circled. That door.
Right. That door. I can't wait to see it. It works across the board. It doesn't have to be prank videos and gaming content or whatever it is. It's home improvement. It's everywhere.
Well, you have to make home improvement exciting somehow, because if it's just a video of, like, literally someone's wall and door or whatever, the title is "Working on my door, taking its hinges off."
Right.
No, like, additional saturation or phase, just some, like, literally a screenshot of, like, no one's gonna click on it.
However, there's always that weird line, because the right video at the right time, the right place on YouTube. If it was just a guy took a picture, he just recorded his door for like 4 minutes, and he just titled it, "I recorded my door for 4 minutes."
Well, see, that's okay.
You know what I mean?
That's a good title, though, because then people are like, "Did he? Like, is there a catch? Is there a catch?
Are we on?
So you have to
here?
click it, because there is a limit. You can't just say I recorded my door for 4 hours. It might get clicks, but it'll have that, like, flatlining watch time where, like, everyone's like bailing in 10 seconds. But if it's short enough and people are like, "Yeah, I got time for that."
I got time to watch a door for 4 minutes.
Like, there's something there when you pike the curiosity, especially when you have a number. When you have a number in the title, so 4 minutes.
There's kind of that, like, that's true. There's kind of that fourth wall kind of meta humor a little bit too, like, about, like, this isn't funny, but the fact that I'm doing it is funny. Yes. You and I took a class in high school. I don't know if maybe you didn't do this particular class. Tell me if this rings a bell to you. It was a, like, multimedia class. It was not multimedia journalism. It wasn't that class. It was a similar class, but what we had an assignment. Maybe it was MMJ, but it was an assignment where we had to make a comedy video, and it had to be like 60 seconds. Does that ring a bell at all?
It doesn't ring a bell at all.
Okay, so maybe you weren't in that, but I was in that class, and I know what everyone, like, a lot of kids, like, in our class were talking about what they were going to do, and I wanted to just like, kind of throw expectations out of the water for people, because I know, because a lot of those folks in that class in particular saw the videos we were making, which you were in, and I thought, I don't want to do something that they're expecting. I don't want to do a movie trailer. That's tended to be my shtick at the time. So what I did was I asked my stepdad to buy a Lunchable and bring it home, and he did. And I told him, I'm going to prop a camera up. It has to be for 60 seconds. That was the limit. So I told him, or it could have been 3 minutes. I don't know. Either way, it was a short amount of time. And I said, all I want you to do is take this Lunchable, take your Pepsi, sit down, and eat it. That's it. So for and you know Big Daddy. So like literally what happened was I just propped it up, no camera movement, no fade in, no fade out, just record. And he just sat down. And we were trying so hard behind the camera not to laugh because every moment counted, every sound counted. So he would sit down, and then he was struggling to open the Lunchable. And that's funny. And then he finally gets it, and he gains his composure, and he's just doing it. He's not smiling the best he can, at least. And he starts to, and then he opens his can. And that was hilarious because it reverberated through the room, you know. It ended up being very funny. And then the minute he took his first bite, he started to crack just a little bit, but that's when it hit the 60-second mark, so it stopped anyway. It was perfect.
He didn't even get to eat any of it. He had just taken his first bite, and it was over.
But anyway, that's kind of, I thought that was a good little curveball for what people were probably going to expect that I did. And that's kind of back to the whole thing of, you know, I recorded my door for 4 minutes.
Did people actually think it was funny when they watched it?
No.
Okay, I was going to say, that sounds like just like you had to be there kind of humor.
So here's the thing. The people that would have found it funny, you would have found it funny, but I think it's because you know him, you know me, and you and I have a very similar kind of humor. That's a very specific kind of humor. Like, what happens with a lot of the stuff that I've done since then, humor-wise, some of it's even with, like, the Camp Nostalgic stuff, shout out to Camp Nostalgic, is we do things that if you just watch it, it may not be inherently, or like, is this supposed to be funny or whatever, like some of the stuff that we've made, but it's the fact that it's hard to explain. It's pretty much that the fact that we made it is kind of what's funny more than it actually being, like, the content in it is funny. Really, the video of him, I think, is the perfect example that I can think of. Like, it's like existential
humor or existential comedy. Like, everyone's familiar with existential dread. That sense that just our own existence brings on this sort of solemn foreboding. The opposite of that. Our mundane tedium of life displayed publicly for others to witness, despite the fact that there is truly nothing to see, and just laughing at it.
And that's why it's funny. Exactly. For me, I've always loved that kind of humor. I loved the anti sort of humor, I guess.
Yeah.
Those anti jokes. That's just one avenue of my humor that just really tickles me, if you will.
I do like the idea of showing that video to, like, a room of people, and, like, no one's laughing, like no one's making a sound. They're just staring at the screen, and I just imagine you're in the back just dying.
Well, listen, to my knowledge, what happened was there was a couple little giggles because it's like, did he really do this? But then it ended pretty quick. But I remember just sitting in the back, just turning red, thinking it's so funny. And you know, so I guess. And I got a good grade on it. I remember that because I know our teacher, she liked the idea. It was very kind of unique. It was just, like you said, the mundane sort of thing. But yeah, I guess I got what I wanted out of it. I don't know.
Sometimes we have these little, like, obsessions that we focus in on that maybe no one else, like, understands. Yep. But you know, we ourselves do. And that's like one of them.
Do you ever think of something that you find really funny at, like, at kind of like a strange time? Like, you could be at work, and then you just think of that funny thing that happened 6 years ago, and then you just kind of start to giggle at yourself. You ever have those moments?
No, my memory's pretty crap anyway. So, like, if I'm not, like, prompted with a memory, I use this phrase all the time at work, at home: head empty, thoughts zero. When I'm, like, at work and there's, like, nothing going on, I just start kind of, like, making a tune to myself, and I just start kind of, like, looking for things to do, or I get on my phone or something. Like, no, head is empty. There's nothing happening. Yeah.
So at like, so if you're kind of like winding down for the night, this is interesting to me. So you're winding down for the night, maybe you're just kind of hanging out, looking at your phone or reading a book or getting ready to go to bed, whatever it may be, would you consider your head to be pretty empty? Like you don't have a lot of thoughts going through?
It's the winding down part. Sometimes that's when you have no activity to do, you can start kind of having your mind wander to one topic or another topic. And I kind of role play a conversation in my head. Like I'll just talk to myself in my head over a topic. But like usually it just turns into like a debate or like which sounds hilarious, like I'm debating with myself, but it's me like like looking at like different arguments of a topic and like trying to address each one. So it's like I'm arguing with myself in my head.
Interesting.
That's usually where I go.
You debate with yourself. In a way, it's well, yeah, but I respect that, especially if it's like a particular topic that would be prominent in like everyday conversation, or with somebody, because then you can kind of see both sides, you can understand, you can have a better sense of insight, maybe.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to even be realistic, too, because it can be like religion and politics and current events. It can be any of that stuff, but it can also be completely fictitious scenarios where, like, I'm trying to imagine, like, what if everyone found out I was a vampire and I needed to hide it?
Okay,
what lies would I use to cover up the fact that I am a soul-sucking demon from hell?
Interesting.
So sometimes they're fictional like that.
Wow. Okay, so I think it's funny because, like, if you'd ask me what I think about, I think it'd be tougher for me to say in the moment. But I think I've gone through fictional things in my head, but usually mine aren't just off the cuff, kind of out of nowhere. Usually it's like if I'm, it's more planning. So, like, okay, I'm going to be doing this. Let me go through every single scenario in my head. It's more of an anxious thing when I do it, I guess. But
yeah. I can totally see that as an anxious thing. That makes sense. If you have anxiety over a certain situation or something, you're like looking at it from every possible angle. Mine is just literally just a hypothetical scenario and like analyzing and studying that scenario for fun.
Okay. Well, here's a weird one that I do then. I'll meet you here. So I don't know if you do this, but what I will do in my head, and if I'm alone, I'll do it out loud sometimes. I will make little ditties in my head or out loud. And I don't just mean like this. I don't mean like I don't mean that. Like, it'll be like a phrase that I'll say, like in my head. So it'll be, man, I got to take that garbage out. And then I'll go, man, I got to take that. Man, I got to take that. Man, I got to take that garbage out. And then and it'll continue. And I mean, if I'm by myself, it becomes a whole thing throughout the house. So thank God at the moment I live alone. When Steph and I live together, she's going to be in for a world of craziness.
Maybe she'll join you. Maybe she also does it at home alone. Yeah.
Man, I got to take that garbage out. Oh, yeah.
Man, we got to take that garbage out.
So
break out into musical.
But I will say this, though, because my brain can just say some really strange words. Sometimes they're vulgar, sometimes they're swear words, and those will come out, too. And it's just hilarious. And I think it's funny, so I'll just keep making it into a nasty, weird song. It's great. Anyway, that's what I do.
I feel like I've actually, oddly enough, I feel like I have done that before, but that's not like a go-to thing. If I get like a tune, it usually starts with, if I have a tune stuck in my head, I try to put words to it instead of like you're like doing a task and you're making a song out of the task. I get a tune stuck first, and then I have to do something with it. So that's not very common.
Okay, but in the times that it has happened, so like you'll have like a melody or something in your head or some sort of like phrase of notes. Okay.
Kind of what I was saying when I get like bored, if I just start like humming a tune or something, like that's where it starts from. I just start making up sounds until it sounds like a thing that I like. Like it doesn't even have to be from a song. It's just then I got to put words to it.
So every once in a while, you like kind of just off the cuff write songs in your head.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
They're not good, and I don't ever remember them. It's just nonsense. But yeah.
You in particular, you know how I have this weird and like this curiosity with you and your relationship with music. I've told you that before. And a lot of our friendship is based around singing songs. I still love that. I would love to just be able to have a device where I could hear your thoughts during those moments. I really would, just to hear what's coming out of your mouth or out of your head. I mean,
it's shockingly empty. It's exactly what's coming out of my mouth is what's going on in my head.
Do you hear? I'm sorry, we're totally off topic. I'm sure.
Kind of.
Kind of. What is it? We got some time. What is it?
I try to reel us in, but now we're like falling further away from it. Our topic today is odd obsessions. So we're kind of there.
Okay. Well, I saw we're like almost like the 20-minute mark, so that we should talk about the topic.
This is going to be just like 2 weeks ago where it's like, what was the topic? I don't know.
I know. But then like, I still will never forget near the beginning, you like flawlessly brought us into a topic and I had no idea that we were there. I thought we were just going off the cuff still. That was really impressive. I think it was the news episode like forever ago.
What can I say? I'm just an improv god.
Careful, you're saying it to the Jam and Chat, man. Careful now.
This is true. Well, we both do performance improv on our streams. This is true.
We do.
I think yours is more talent-based. Mine is more, I've got a thing in front of me, and I'm just kind of like making fun of it. Kind of like, I don't know, Mystery Science Theater style, but like without the choreographed jokes.
Right. Well, I will say neither of us have the talent that those Whose Lines It Anyway boys have. Whew, man, they're all so good. Wayne Brady, as you can imagine, is an idol to me, and I truly mean that on the music side, because he can just, man. Anyway, odd obsessions,
You're not wrong. Yeah.
Well, what's one of your odd obsessions, Weston?
Well,
I'll ask you.
what were we even talking about before we went in that direction? We were just talking about what? Music in our head or something? Yeah. Anyway, I don't remember what our train of thought was. I was going to say like odd obsessions is the topic, and I was going to open it with whether or not we had any obsessions that we thought were odd, because there's always the typical ones. I know we're like well into this topic to be just breaking ground on the typical obsessions, like binge watching shows and video games. The reason I thought of this for this episode is because lately I binge watched the crap out of season 2 of the Critical Role Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon Prime. Hashtag sponsored. No, I'm just kidding. I got an Amazon deal behind your back. No, I just finished watching that. I really enjoyed season 1. I watched season 2, and I watched, there's 12 episodes in the whole thing, and when I started watching it, I watched 8 straight in a row. I couldn't quite make it through 9. There were only 9 out at the time, and I almost binge watched the whole thing in one sitting. But I was falling asleep for 9, so I was like, I have to wait on this. I'm not as young as I used to be, but I used to do that, is just binge watch like literal seasons of show. Like I will go long stretches not watching anything, period. And then when I watch a show, I watch all of it in a night. So
wow.
And that's why I thought like obsession. It's almost like, I know binge watching is a thing, but that's like obsessive behavior where you don't have the control to stop.
Sure. Yeah.
And I was also thinking about that because I've been obsessively playing Skyrim for the last week.
Really?
Yeah, I broke out Skyrim again, and I've been obsessively playing it. I never played the expansions, and I have the special edition that came out, God knows when it was, a couple years ago or whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna play this game again.
Well, Skyrim's one of those games you can always go back to. There's a reason why it is the iconic game that it is. I was gonna ask you, did you buy it for like the 40th time? Like they had like the 10-year anniversary one, and then they had already another one, I think, since then.
They've got several different names of different versions, because I technically don't have the anniversary edition. I have the special edition, which I had a free upgrade to it for having owned one of their previous editions. I don't remember how it all worked.
Total side note, but then I'll get into something of mine, but I always have, I mean, it's probably not a surprise. I usually circle back to Skyrim. If I do, it's usually during the wintertime. That just it makes sense. I like playing games where you're in the snow, and you're in the snow for a lot of that, and it's just, I love it. It feels warm and cozy to me. And the first time I ever played it, years and years ago, I had it on the 360. Actually, I still do. I played it in the wintertime. So I just kind of remember it that way. But yeah,
just because you mentioned the 360, that's how I originally owned Skyrim, was on the Xbox 360. I now own the special edition on PC, and my beefy PC, and the loading times, oh my god, on the 360, if you wanted to go into a building, you were going to be waiting at least a minute.
It's
I'm
it's
so
funny,
glad I don't have that.
We're so spoiled now. Like, I remember at the time not thinking it was. I remember thinking like it was long, but like I didn't really think much of it because that's just kind of what we knew. And I bet you because especially a game at that size at that time. But I can just imagine going back now, like literally having to wait like 60 seconds. That just sounds ridiculous to me.
I remember telling my brother, because we would take turns playing it on the Xbox, and I came up with this idea. It's the Skyrim workout routine that every time you hit a loading screen, you have to do push-ups, and the next time you have to do like curl-ups or whatever. So you're just like getting swole playing Skyrim.
That's really smart. So obsessions for me, so I've never really had the obsession thing going on with TV shows. I can't for some reason. Even my favorite shows, I have this weird need to limit myself. I don't know where that comes from, but I do that. However, one thing that I do is I get these really strong obsessions that are temporary, and then I move on to something. So like I'll get into something a lot, and I'll be super into it for like 6 months, and then whatever. And then as soon as I get so obsessed that I'm about ready to buy something, I'll go, I don't need to buy it, and then I'll move on. But like, so I that's something I've learned about myself, and actually kind of Steph helped me kind of figure that out. I get that way. So one thing, this also has a different ending than most, but a great example would be the mountain biking, which we all know how that story ends. But I was into it for about 8 months, little less than a year technically, and the day before I broke my leg, I was getting ready to bite the bullet on like a very expensive mountain bike. And so, but I knew that I probably wouldn't have bought it even if it didn't get hurt. But I always get to that point, and then I just kind of, that's when I usually just kind of dip out. I'm trying to think about other examples.
You're afraid of like buyer's remorse or whatever it's called?
I guess. That's just something I've noticed. I'll just have these temporary obsessions. Now, you mentioned odd. I will say that I go through these odd binges on YouTube that last hours and hours. And I don't mean like rabbit holes, because it'll go for like multiple weeks, sometimes months, where I'll get into really specific, strange things, and then I won't care anymore. What's a good example of that? I'm sure that probably has happened for you too. Like you'll find these, like there's this random topic, a very niche thing on YouTube, and then you just kind of dip out of it after a while.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
Yeah, I can't think of any odd ones though. It's just kind of a genre. Like I'll be into science-y videos for a month, and then I'll be into gaming videos, and then I'll be into, just kind of like, it's kind of genre. So, I don't do a lot of very specific niches. Okay, so I've got my genres that I go through that I've always loved, but like a great example is I had this obsession for about 6 months, maybe a little more, of medieval time period stuff. So how they cooked, what the class systems were like, what they wore, what's accurate to the times. And it's not like I just go through this one guy's channel, watch his stuff, and then I move on, which is the thing that people do. I will go to multiple channels and I'm into it. And then I just get so burnt out, and I don't care anymore. Like I learned what I wanted to learn. Okay, I'm done. Actually, that's a good point. I do go into like obsessively watching like 24 videos of like one new person that I've discovered. I thought of this when you mentioned medieval, because I had a binge session with, I forget what his name is on YouTube. It's like Townsend something.
Townsend, he does like the food?
Townsend, yeah, he does the food. He does the medieval food cooking thing. I watched like God knows how many of those videos, just straight. I think there was one where he then had like one or two of his seasons just fully compiled in like 2 or 4 hour videos or something. I just started watching all of them.
Yep. Exactly, yeah. And he's actually one of the people out of the list that I watched of things that I did watch. It's so interesting. And then that brought me to other, and of course he does other time periods. He does multiple, but that brought me to other time periods. And just super random stuff like that, I guess, is where my odd obsessions lie. The rest of my big obsessions that kind of have lasted forever, I wouldn't call them super odd. Maybe they're a little more specific. You know that I'm very obsessed with the retro gaming scene and community, but that's a huge growing community day by day. But, okay, I guess probably the most odd that I think the average person may not understand is I have an obsession with gear and audio equipment. So,
Yeah.
I go to a festival every year called Gear Fest, and you just drool at microphones and processors and keyboards and mainly equipment, though. It's not really many instruments. So, like, there's, like, this giant room dedicated to, like, every microphone you can think of. And I I want to puke. I'm so excited. You know, so I would say that's probably what the person, like, any non-audiophile would probably just go, it's a microphone. Cool. They sound good. Okay. But that's kind of where I would say my most odd obsession is. Specifically would be microphones.
I kind of feel like I wish I'm struggling to rack my brain here, and maybe there's something in the back of my head that I don't think is strange, and I'm just not thinking of it. I wish I was that passionate about a specific obsession or topic where I would want to go to a convention for it. You know what I mean? You go to the Gear Fest. Like, I wish there was a convention that existed where I'm like, yes, I must make pilgrimage.
Right. I understand. Well, I mean, this is a very common loved obsession for a lot of people, but you can't not say video games.
Sometimes I feel like a fake gamer. Like, I like video games, but so many people get like so crazy obsessed over like a new game that's out or whatever, and they're like so excited and they want to pre-order it or whatever. And okay, to be fair, the last time I got really excited for a game was when the new Battlefront was being rebooted, because I loved Star Wars Battlefront 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 2 or whatever, and they rebooted that. To mixed reviews, the first one, but I thought it had a lot of promise. I was really excited about that one, and then I was really excited for maybe Battlefront 2 to see how much they learned from the first game's hiccups, and that was a whole controversial mess. But that was like the last time I was really excited for a game, and I got kind of burned on that one. But
well, I mean, I don't know if the being really excited for something makes you like a non-gamer or like not obsessed about it, because it's, first of all, your content revolves around it. At least a big bulk of your content revolves around it. You know, you probably at least remotely keep up with some sort of video game related news.
A little bit. I feel like not as much as I used to, but a little bit.
Okay, that's interesting. So for me, I'm still pretty much. I watch one guy in particular who just kind of throws the news at you in the industry, and I keep up with that, I guess. But
yeah, that helps.
So I don't know. I would consider that to be one, just because of how much your life revolves around it. And maybe the excitement's kind of gone a little bit because you do it all the time, like, already. Like, I know when I, am able to take breaks from games, I get super excited when I'm, able to play one again. And then, the obsession starts over. No, you may be playing games that you wouldn't inherently play, on your own, off camera, but you're still playing games. So maybe it's just the motions.
Because I will say, I do get obsessed over specific games sometimes. So, for example, I was talking about Skyrim. Literally, I've been playing Skyrim since about noon yesterday.
Oh, my God.
I didn't sleep last night. I'm still awake.
Oh, my God. Well, that'll do it, I guess.
So maybe that's that's the obsessive part.
Yeah,
where
so.
I'm like, I've got 2 days off in a row. Who needs sleep? I'm playing video games.
For you, I've noticed it's been like this forever since I've known you. It's kind of similar to me with it's maybe temporary, but you have these temporary fixations on one thing. Because the binging shows, I know you do, or you'll play through a game for 20 hours just in a row, or whatever it is.
But then I'll drop it for ever. I'll highly intense for obsessive for a little bit. I kind of get that.
Right. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe I wonder if it's what I would love to know, and this is not our area of expertise, but I would be curious to know why your brain would work that way. You want that a super intense. I want this. I want all of it. I want it as much as I can right now. I don't want to stop. I want to be here. And then 2 days, 3 days later, like, okay, whatever, I'm done. I'm bored of it. I want the next thing, right? Is this like an endorphin search? Like what is it? That's what I would love to know.
Yeah, maybe like it's some sort of endorphin tolerance or something. Like it just requires so much intense endorphin searching just to get your fix, and then you can move on. I don't know.
Well, that really may be it, because in terms of like the content and the things that we want to watch, like anything's out there at any time, so it's a lot easier to get that satisfaction in one way or another. So
that's a good point. Like there's a lot less anticipation for like the next episode when you can just watch it now.
So, and now that we kind of that's kind of a mainstay now, is just, well, I can watch this anytime I want. It's harder for us to reach that same level of enjoyment that maybe we used to be able to reach. So now it's like, I got to just take it all as much as I can to kind of feel what would be easier to feel 15 years ago when nobody could watch a million things in a row. Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
We're no experts.
I just want to feel.
I just want to feel again.
Well, I don't know how odd our obsessions really are in the grand scheme of things. I think maybe people at home might have stranger obsessions. Maybe not. Maybe we do have strange obsessions. But I'll tell you what, some people definitely have the strangest of obsessions. And we're going to rank some strange obsessions 1 through 10 in the next segment right after this break.
All right.
All right. Profoundish is brought to you in part by A Hasty Podcast, my own personal podcast talking about life, games, media, and sometimes featuring guests. Look for it on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Profoundish is brought to you in part by my music. I'm a singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist. Most of my songs tell stories, some real, some not, but all of them speak to an experience that we all share, the human condition. Search my name, Alex Duquette, on any streaming platform. Thanks for listening. Welcome back, everybody, to Profoundish. You're still listening to Profoundish. You haven't clicked off. I know you tried to. Don't you try it again. Yeah, don't you do it again. If you continue to click off like that, we're going to start interspersing more ads in the show, and it's all going to be us every time.
The entire wait, there's an episode idea. The whole thing's an ad, except for the ad break is the episode.
That's okay. I have an idea. I don't want to say it live, but I have an idea for that episode. We'll go back to it.
Okay, I like it. This might happen. So here's what we're doing now. We are finally finished with my long-running Oprah list. All right, of Never Have I Ever's. That's done.
I kind of miss it. I kind of miss it.
Well, I've stolen another list online.
All right, great.
But this is a little bit different. This is obsessions. Are you familiar? I know you are, but are you familiar with the show My Strange Addiction?
Yes, of course.
It's a show where each episode focuses on somebody with some kind of strange addiction. It's as simple as it sounds. And since we were talking about kind of being obsessed about things, I found a list online from screencrush.com. I wish I could credit the actual author. I guess it's just by Screen Crush staff. This was published over 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
All right. January 29th in 2013. So,
a simpler time.
This was a simpler time for sure. This was when My Strange Addiction, what was it? It was just set to return for its like third season or something like that. And they compiled a list of their top 10 strangest addictions from the show that had been released so far. So they've listed 10 addictions, but I want to see if we agree with the order of strangeness. So we're going to rearrange these and just discuss the obsessions themselves. Number 1 will be the strangest obsession and or addiction. And number 10 will be the least, but probably still very strange. So that's what we're going to do here, is just talk about some strange obsessions that apparently exist in the world and order them.
Fun. Okay. I used to, actually, I might be familiar with some of these because during this time when the show was newer, I watched it a little bit. So this will be interesting. Yeah,
and like I said, this is their list of top 10. I didn't find. It's probably out there. I just didn't see it. A list of. I wanted to have like a list of all of the obsessions listed. They're probably somewhere, probably on like Wikipedia. But anyway, here's 10 of them.
Okay.
Starting with their number 10, and we're gonna kind of decide where to put this as we go. Is eating drywall. There are a lot of creatures that can get inside your walls and eat away at your drywall, causing serious damage to your home. But 26-year-old Nicole is beating the mice to it. She pulls out hunks of drywall from her own home, leaving holes sometimes 3 feet wide.
Just irresponsible. Okay. Wow, eating drywall. And that's number 10?
Drywall. That's their number 10.
Oh my gosh.
And
okay.
I want, like, how strange is this really, do you think?
I mean, I mean, without any context currently, it's the strangest. But
yeah, currently
honestly,
it's the strangest one listed. But like, if you think about it,
okay,
like,
I want to hear this.
Paper.
Okay,
Well, if you think about it, like, I don't know what's all in drywall. I'll be honest, I am no carpenter, but like, people eat paper or like cardboard or something, right? I know drywall is definitely worse, but
yeah, but I think when people eat paper, when I think of it, I think of like they're kind of nibble on it. You know what I mean? Kind of like a tick kind of thing, like people nibble on paper or plastic. I know that's a thing. Is that kind of what you mean? Or are there just people that eat paper?
Like, people chew on pens and pencils too.
Yeah, but this is consuming drywall.
I know it's a little bit on another level.
Well, I think really what bothers me the most is that, you see, I would go to like the Home Depot and just like, you know, or like, of course, I don't think, well, maybe they have drywall panels you can just pick up, I guess. I don't know how that works. I mean, I know how you make drywall. But either way, like, I just wouldn't want to do it in my own house. You know, that's the weird part. I would get the drywall elsewhere.
Yeah,
so
could you imagine literally knocking down parts of your own walls to eat your house?
It's like, God, Mama needs her fix. Just half the dining room wall's gone. And then, no, I also want to know, truly, because this isn't explained, does she prepare it somehow, or is it just eating it?
She pulls out hunks of drywall from her own home. That's what it says.
Add some salt, Nicole, or whatever her name is. I think it's Nicole. Like, just
something. Leave the salt out because you know sodium's not good for your blood or something.
Yeah,
salt's bad for you for some reason. I don't know why. It's just bad for you.
Maybe there's something in the drywall that actually has some health benefits.
I have my doubts.
You know, me too. It's not been standardized, so you're probably right.
So we're going to put this squarely kind of like in the middle of our list right now, with plenty of room to go above it, plenty of room to go below it. This is currently our just sort of control group of odd obsessions. Number 9 on their list, however, is eating toilet paper. Toilet paper is supposed to go one place, and it ain't your mouth. But Kesha has been snacking on toilet paper for years, going through about 4 to 5 rolls a week. The hell with popcorn. She even takes a roll to the movies as a snack.
So this is no relation to the pop star.
I have to assume.
You'd have to assume this.
I have to. I have to assume that all the names are probably pseudonyms for the show.
Right. Yeah, that's fair.
I have to imagine.
So the minute you said this, to me, that screamed 10. I think eating drywall is more strange than toilet paper.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, how is eating toilet paper weirder than drywall?
Now, we do have to keep in mind the frequency, right? I don't know how much drywall Nicole eats, but Kesha is eating multiple rolls a week? I don't know. But either way, I definitely think it's less strange. You know, it dissolves better. You know, like it makes more sense. Like if I were to eat one of these two, I feel like toilet paper would be a little bit easier to take down.
You would think so, to at least like swallow.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's like more absorbent than drywall would be, and I can only imagine what that's doing to the rest of your insides. But again, like with the eating paper, this is just toilet paper. again, 4 to 5 rolls is too many, but it's almost not that weird. The weirdest part is that it's toilet paper, so you're imagining bathrooms and they're gross and that kind of thing. But it's not like I have to assume also, this is me doing lots of assumptions, she's not sitting on the toilet, right? And while she's waiting to go, snacking on the toilet paper roll.
God, she'd run out of toilet paper so fast because it's like a double whammy for her, you know. Well, you know what I was just thinking? I was just thinking about like early pandemic. Like that poor girl, she couldn't eat. When everyone was buying toilet paper up like crazy during the
most people
parts.
lost their bum paper. She lost her bum paper and her snacks.
Yeah, that's so sad.
Can you imagine not having your toilet paper and not having your Doritos?
That's terrible.
What kind of dystopia are we living in?
So, yeah, my vote is drywall is more strange. So I feel like if we were to start placing the list together, I don't know if we're doing that yet or not, but toilet paper currently would be like 10.
Yeah, you can see I'm sharing my screen with you. I don't have it like numbered. It's just the top is the weirdest, bottom is the not weirdest. So
okay.
It goes so far eating drywall weirdest, then eating toilet paper.
Gotcha.
That's how I think we've got it so far. See it. Okay. Well, I'm curious to know. By the way, anyone listening at home, keep a running tally in your head of what you think are the weirdest, and see if you agree with our synopsis. Because this would be pretty funny to see who argues. What's the weirdest of these?
Yes, let us know. You can let us know at in the comments if you're listening on YouTube, or at Profoundish Pod on Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Let us know.
A little shout out to us. Their number 8 is In Love with a Doll. Dave Cat, yes, Dave Cat, is in love with a doll named Sidor. They live together, go shopping together, and eat dinner together, just like a regular couple would, except, you know, Sidor is made of plastic. Dave Cat even gives Sidor foot massages. That's probably one of her favorite things in the world. And that's quoted as if, I guess, Dave Cat said that out loud in the episode.
Or maybe she did. Who knows? So do we have the size of the doll? Like, do you see a picture? Is this like a bigger doll or like a tiny doll?
I do not know. I think they have the episode here. I wonder if I can just scrub through it and look at it. Is that the doll in the... No, this is not the correct episode. This is someone obsessed with tanning beds, I think. I can't tell. She looks very tan.
Well, that's a good guess then. Wow. So this sounds like just a very unhealthy, close relationship with a doll. Now, I do have questions, of course, and I'm sure you might as well. I would like to... My answer would be informed by knowing whether or not this also is sexual in nature. That does make a difference to me. To me, at least. Like, if this was also like a romantic relationship, or is it really more just... You know, because you mentioned the foot rubbing. That's kind of weird.
Yeah, like he's like there's foot rubbing involved. It says Dave Cat is in love with the doll.
He did say in love. Okay, so we can assume
together,
it's romantic.
They're shopping together. I guess so. I don't know if it's an actual sex doll or just literally like a Barbie doll. I actually don't know. I don't have an image here.
To me, it doesn't matter if it is or not as much as it is. He's viewing it as basically his spouse.
Right.
So that's pretty odd. Where does it go, though? Like, I feel like it's weirder than eating toilet paper.
Okay, yeah, I think I would agree with that. I would have to imagine it's probably weirder than eating drywall as well. Because the drywall and the toilet paper to me are like so similar because they're both eating things. The In Love with a Doll, though, does bring up an interesting question with the growing number of like AI companion apps that exist.
Mm-hmm.
Since we were talking about AI stuff earlier. Was that before we started recording or after? I don't even remember what we were recording so far. Was that during? Yeah, AI stuff.
Yeah.
Head empty, thoughts zero. I don't remember anything.
Right.
With the growing number of AI companion apps that exist. This list came out in 2013. Those, to my knowledge, did not exist at the time. So that kind of brings up, I think it would be interesting to have that conversation now where people are actually, I think in a weird way, the in love with a doll is becoming less weird.
Right.
If you can couple it with the AI component.
Yeah, I agree. I know personal applications wise, I think it's probably, you're right. I think it is weirder than the drywall too, because those are so similar. But because it's also like, so these obsessions are satisfying, like those two, the drywall and the toilet paper. I think it's a less, I mean, they're all important needs, eating, but it's more of like a snack thing.
Like
the
something
need,
to do with your mouth, I guess.
Right. What the doll is doing is much bigger, right? This is filling a very big void.
A need for companionship.
Right, and he's getting it out of a doll. So, yeah, that's the strangest so far.
I think that's the strangest so far, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm starting to question like whether it's, quote unquote, that weird.
I know. Well, that's why I was
like,
is it weirder than drywall? Like, I was really thinking that for a second. That's bizarre. That's a weird thought.
I know. It is. It's like, huh. Number 7 here. Eating couch cushions. Again, with the eating.
I know this one. I've seen this episode. This was very strange to me.
I've got a description here. We don't even know what the inside of our couch cushions look like, but Adele has been zipping open the cushions on her couch and ripping off handfuls of the foam inside for a snack. This has been going on for 20 years, and God knows how many love seats.
Kudos to the writer.
Whoever it was the staff.
Yeah, good job, staff. I'm going by how easy it would be to consume. I'm stuck between... This is less weird than drywall still. It's soft. That makes more sense. Because, like, if you think about toilet paper and cushions, it sounds easier to consume. And drywall is a challenge. I feel like it would be. It's crunchy. Ugh.
Yeah. Isn't drywall kind of like eating, like, rocks? Or am I crazy?
It's kind of rocky, yeah. Especially when it's like old, like dried out. Yeah,
I feel like that would be painful. Like couch cushions, it's not the same like density of cotton candy, but that's like in my mind, since it's the foam inside, just like fluffy stuff.
Right. So you actually placed it exactly where I would have placed it. I think it's a little stranger than the toilet paper because there's a money sink into this too. You only have so many couches, so you got to buy more. So. Yeah, I think that's a good spot.
Yeah, stranger than toilet paper, but less strange than drywall.
Yep.
All right, here's the next one. Consuming, but in a very different way. We've got snorting baby powder.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yes, that's right. Usually, when you see a reality show that confronts someone about an addiction to snorting white powder up their nose, it's intervention. But Jay isn't a coke addict; she's a baby powder addict. The 28-year-old has been at it for the past 16 years, at least 10 times a day.
Oh my gosh, that makes me that makes my head hurt to think about. Snorting baby powder.
Like, my thing is, does it have to be baby powder? Like, is she getting something out of the baby powder? Or is it just the act of needing to have something snorted up your nose that often a day?
True. That's a good point. Because I immediately, because maybe she is a recovering addict and she just misses the feeling. I don't know. But
like how when smokers have to do something with their mouth when they're trying to quit smoking, so they like chew gum or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
It's like I just need something up my nose. God dang it.
I was thinking, like, is it the intensity of the smell? Like, because that's a very distinct smell. I like the smell of baby powder. I mean, I don't smell it often, but
I think it's kind of like sickly. Like I don't like it. It's
I
not,
know
like,
why you think that. I get it,
but I'm like, ugh.
I get it. Yeah. It kind of smells. It almost smells like I think you're kind of defining it as a similar thing to like the sterile hospital smell or something.
Right.
Or, I think I kind of know what you mean.
It's kind of that same universe where it's like it's gross, but not because it's like coming from somewhere gross. It's like I
get it.
It's like weird, uncomfortable smell.
It is a very prominent smell. So but I don't know. Either way, snorting it
10 times a day. Like, I mean, you're only awake. Like, if you sleep 7 to 8 hours a day, right? You only are awake like 16 to 17 hours a day. Like, she's snorting 1 to twice an hour, right? Or whatever. Or almost no. How does that work? 0.75 times an hour.
Yeah, that's a lot. Honestly,
almost every hour.
And snorting it, I think, is stranger than eating it. She's not just using it as like a seasoning on her meatloaf.
Yeah, I think this is definitely stranger than like toilet paper and cushions. Yeah, eating it like meatloaf.
Exactly, just baby powder meatloaf. I actually might think it's weirder than the drywall.
That was the one where for me, I'm like, is it weirder than drywall? Drywall's a funny wall in our list here. Is it weirder than drywall?
But I know, right? But it's snorting it.
That's true.
Like she's she's at a party with her friends. Like, hold on, give me a second. She runs to the bathroom and pulls out the baby powder. Or like, do you have any baby powder? She just snorts that stuff.
Oh my god! If you have to ask your friends, do you have any baby powder? I need it.
Yeah, like her friends post on like online, like, hey, we're having a baby. All of a sudden, she's hitting them up in the DMs, like, hey, let me know when you start buying baby stuff.
So, yeah. I want to come over more often. Is it weirder than? Yeah, she's always over here, and I'm always running out of baby powder. Is it weirder than Love Doll?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because I almost think it is, but like almost think it is. I'm not sure. I'm like on the fence on that. So I'll leave it. I'll leave it as less weird than In Love with a Doll.
Yeah, I mean, you're in love with a doll. Like you're.
I am slightly biased because I just hate anything up my nose. That is a sore spot for me. Anything up the nose is I would just rather die. So I'm a little biased there anyway, but I'm willing to be like, okay.
Yeah, I think a man in a romantic relationship with an inanimate object is weirder than snorting baby powder.
Okay. Their number 5 is drinking nail polish.
A lot of consuming.
A lot of consuming things. I didn't really watch this show, but I get the sense that the show was a lot of consuming things.
I'm wondering. I'm just gonna make a prediction now. I think on the list, unless it didn't air yet, there was a girl who drank pig blood. So I'm wondering if that's gonna be on this list because that's a weird one. But anyway,
if you cooked it into something, that'd be different. But yeah, drinking nail polish. When 23-year-old Bertha gets thirsty, she doesn't reach for a bottle of Gatorade or a glass of water. Instead, she reaches for nail polish, drinking about 5 bottles a day. She particularly likes the flavor blue or anything with glitter in it.
Oh, geez, I got that. There's a lot of questions with this one. You can't tell me blue tastes different. Different than red.
The concerning thing is the psychosemantics that the hoops that your brain has to jump through to think that the color blue tastes like something.
That's wild. That alone is actually affecting my decision here. That little extra insight is
because I get the glitter for texture. See, I'm wondering if they like the quote unquote flavor of blue. I'm wondering if they like the glitter because it's fun to look at while they're eating it, or if it literally has a different texture. I bet it's the freaking. I bet it's the way it looks because that would make no sense. But that would that makes it especially weird to me.
So, you know what's funny though? I'm still looking at drywall thinking, is that weirder than drywall? On this one, I don't know if it is.
Weirder than drywall. Isn't nail polish poisonous, or am I crazy?
I think you can get like non-toxic kinds.
Okay.
But yeah, they do because I think there was a time where there was like pets like getting into it and like dying.
That makes sense.
So not anymore. I actually don't think it's weirder than drywall. I think it's just a weird, quirky thing. But I do think it's weirder than couch. Is it weirder than couch cushions, actually? No, I'm starting to think, is this really as weird as I was making it sound?
Yeah, you get to this weird zone where it's like, how weird is it, though?
Right.
Okay, you're thinking it's between drywall and cushions.
Maybe? Yeah. What do you think?
Because I have to think, again, I thought nail polish was toxic anyway. It certainly smells toxic. I don't do my nails, so all the nail polish I've been exposed to, I can't, like, it smells toxic, right? So I don't know why.
Okay. Let me just paint this quick picture for you. So you have a new roommate. Okay, you got a new roommate, normal dude, but you can choose, right? Like, he's either going to be eating the couch cushions, he's replacing the cushions, just no skin off your back. So you might be walking in, from a long day at work, and you say, "Hey, what's going on? What's going on, Weston?" And he's eating the couch. Okay, or you're walking in and he's sitting at the dining room table and he's drinking nail polish. "Hey, what's up, buddy?" What's weirder to you?
You know what? I feel like now that you've put that into that perspective, like if you walk in on a roommate doing either of those two things, I don't know which is actually weirder, but I'd rather them drink the nail polish than mess with my couch.
then I think there's your answer.
So actually, it's weirder. Weirdly, couch cushions is weirder than nail polish.
Yes.
Okay.
So I would put it pretty much where we thought we were going to put it, in between drywall and cushions.
No, if the cushions is weirder.
Oh, sorry.
It goes between I'm looking at toilet paper and cushions.
Yep, you're right.
I wasn't expecting that. All right.
But what do you think
They're
about
number
it? Yeah.
4. Yeah, if you think about it, like, you have to walk in on someone. That's actually a good point. I like it.
We should keep that in our heads, that scenario, and see that might help us if he gets stumped.
We've got 4 more, so let's use that. This next one is smelling a baby doll head. I'll let that sink in for just a moment there. Smelling a baby doll head.
Baby doll, not baby. Baby doll.
A baby doll head.
What?
While many of the strange addictions involve eating, drinking, or otherwise ingesting something unhealthy into your body, 24-year-old Lacey has an addiction that isn't an immediate health concern. But that doesn't make it any less strange when she rubs a baby doll head, named Susie Q, across her face all day long.
Oh, boy.
It's got to be that plastic smell, right? It's got to be that, like, weird, like, baby doll plasticky smell thing.
But what? I'm getting tripped up on it being a baby doll head. That's strange, too.
It's like a combination. So it's Lacey. If this, like, if it's a woman, it's like a weird combination of being obsessed with the smell of plastic and having the weirdest, like, baby, what do they call it? Baby, a maternal thing. Baby syndrome. What do they call it? Baby fever. That's what the woman folk call it, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that weirds me out. In my head, though, okay, well, you know what? I don't really know what to say about it. I will say this. A man doing it sounds stranger to me than a woman doing it.
Yeah, bizarrely it does, but I think that's that maternal part coming. It's still very bizarre, but if it was a guy, it would be especially creepy.
Right. Okay. Let's do the scenario here. So I'll do it for myself. So if I'm walking in to my house and I got a roommate and he's smelling, I don't know, he's sitting there watching Jeopardy and smelling baby doll heads, or a baby doll head. It's one.
Yeah, just one baby that they keep around all the time, named Susie Q. Just rubbing it in their face all day. That's pretty strange. Like, that's like, is that stranger than being in love with a doll?
Well, wait a second. If this is the roommate scenario, they're just smelling a baby doll head. They're not eating toilet paper.
I don't know.
Is it like an all-day thing? Is that what it said?
That's what it said. Across her face all day long.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. If
it's not like just a pocket baby where she takes it out for a whiff every now and again.
Yeah, that would give me some really deep-rooted, strange issue vibes. The more I think about it, is it weirder? Yeah, I'm putting it up near the in love with a doll. Is it stranger than being in love with a doll? It really just seems borderline close to it.
Yeah, it seems close because they both involve dolls in my head. But in my head, if you're in love with a doll, at least you're, like, caring for the doll. But if you're just smelling the baby doll head, you're, like, obsessed with the doll. Like, in an unhealthy way. Like if the doll were alive and sentient, the smelling it all day is, like, unhealthy. But like taking out to eat and stuff is like a healthy relationship.
That's true. At least the guy that's in love with a doll, like he's taking care of it. He's treating it as if it has feelings. It affects his feelings.
Foot massages. Maybe that is weirder. I don't know.
Well, you say that, but you're kind of right with what I think you were just saying. This is a very one-sided, obsessive, gimme, 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 gimme. If that were like a real person, that's not healthy at all. I'm almost thinking it's weirder. I don't know.
Is smelling baby doll head the weirdest one?
If it's an all-day thing, I think so.
All right, we'll put it there.
We can always
top
adjust.
of our list. We can adjust. Number 3 on their list: eating a dead person.
What?
Yes, that's right. Let me get it typed out here and get it all read up. Many people keep the ashes of loved ones who've passed. Enter Cassie, a woman so distraught by the death of her husband, she carries his urn around wherever she goes. This is enough to upset her family. Wait until they find out she's been slowly eating his remains. This actually sounds more like a weird like mystery show or something.
That's what I was just thinking. This is kind of a strange two-sided thing for me, because this just sounds, to me, this sounds like, I'm not a therapist, but it just sounds like a very unhealthy way to deal with a very significant loss.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm putting that as a factor.
I think it started with the carrying the urn around everywhere because, you know, you lost your companionship. And then at some point, maybe she was cleaning the urn. Maybe she, like, I don't know, accidentally dropped it, like, a little bit. Like, not to crash it, but somehow some dust got in the air or something and got a little bit of his ashes on her tongue or something. I don't know what happened for her to first have the thought to try to eat some of them. But, like, I feel like this probably didn't start out with, I want to eat people. So, like, it doesn't feel cannibalistic. It's kind of like eating ash that you just happen to carry with you.
Right.
And when I put it that way, is it that weird?
Well, let's start with drywall.
Start with drywall.
So, if you're going to walk in, would you rather see your roommate eating drywall or eating ashes out of an urn of a loved one? Because it's not just random, like dead people ashes. Not that they, hopefully not, you know, be easy to get to.
That's the thing that I'm tripped up by, the idea that the eating drywall is like the sometimes 3 feet at a time or whatever it was earlier. It's quite a bit of drywall, but like the ashes of the dead person, eventually there will be no more ashes. So she's been like slowly, like just a pinch.
Well,
every now and again, you know what I mean? Just a pinch, I do. Just a forbidden snack. The forbidden snack, the forbidden fruit. I'm
almost thinking, I'm taking this scenario a step further. So if you're walking in, and let's put it next to the drywall, is it going to be easier for me? I feel like it'd be, so if you're going to have a conversation with them, like, hey, listen, you've been eating drywall. Like, why the heck are you doing that? I feel like that would be a weirder conversation to me, honestly, than the ashes. Because I feel like with the ashes, there's that emotional aspect of it. Like, I know this is hard, but this is not a good, like, this is probably not healthy for you. And I feel like that'd be, honestly, in a way, a more in-depth and real conversation and less dismissive than the drywall conversation, which, by that logic, would make the drywall weirder.
Right. I agree, because I feel like as a roommate walking in, like, if I see them sneaking a pinch of their loved one, I mean, some people want to be, like, turned into ashes and buried in the ground and turned into a tree or whatever. I'm like, you know what? If she wants to eat her dead husband, okay. I mean, I don't know if I would say anything, but if you were eating drywall, I would definitely say something.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, why the hell are you eating drywall?
The thing is, same thing with the cushions. Like, if you were eating cushions, I'd be like, hang on. What are you doing?
You're right.
And now, I feel the same way about the nail polish.
I was going to say it too. Oh, what about toilet paper?
And the thing is, if you were at the table eating toilet paper or at the table eating a pinch of dead person, I think eating the dead person is the least weird thing on this list.
I agree. Do it. Lay it down. Lay it on there. Okay. At the bottom. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But I kind of can.
I didn't want to be the weirdest person here where it's like, this is the least weird thing to me.
You're not alone. Wow.
That was number 3 on their list. It's number 10 on ours.
Totally different, yeah.
They're number 2. We got 2 left of these. Number 2, drinking urine.
Drinking urine.
That one's actually oddly straightforward. Carrie is a 53-year-old woman who's suffering from cancer. For this, some people would try chemotherapy, but Carrie is trying something completely different. Drinking her own urine. She drinks about 80 ounces of her own urine daily, brushes with it, and even bathes in it.
Ew. Okay.
So I don't know how this remotely relates to cancer. I don't know if in the episode she thinks it helps her cancer. I don't have a clue because I haven't seen the episode. In fact, there's a video linked to it, and it says video unavailable. So we'll never know.
I mean, literally the point of, you're getting rid of things that you don't need in there when you're peeing. Why are you putting it back in there?
Yeah, the stuff that leaves your body is the stuff your body does not want back in it.
Right, exactly. So, but it is more straightforward, though. Like,
it is, yeah.
All
it's
right.
actually weirdly mundane. Like, you're really obsessed with pee, and I don't want you to be my roommate anymore. No, wait a minute. Actually, does that make it really weird? Actually, if you think about it like this, if you walk in and someone's bathing in their urine or eating drywall, we got to go back to drywall.
Yep, drywall. Back to drywall. Okay, so what is weirder, drywall or urine? Okay,
like if they're drinking and bathing in their urine, actually, I don't. I think I'd rather the drywall, right?
Yeah, actually, if we're going that way, I feel like. Okay, what about snorting baby powder? Honestly, no, it's weirder than baby powder. I think. But the doll, though, in love with a doll. So
in love with a doll and bathing in urine, drinking 80 ounces of urine, brushing teeth with urine.
Your own urine. Keep that in mind, too. It's their own urine.
Their own urine, yeah.
God. Is that weirder than being in love with a doll?
I will say that there is the one caveat that, like, in our human history, there was a point in time where people did brush their teeth with basically urine and other components because of some factor in urine actually does help your teeth or something. We're well beyond that in society now, but there was a point in time in history where it would be slightly less weird to be brushing with urine. But I don't think anyone ever bathed in it. That's my big hang up. That's where I'm getting stuck, is on the bathing with it.
Let's think about the overall context as well as a roommate, right? So in order for them to bathe in urine, they have to collect their urine for weeks and weeks.
Oh my god! Do you think they just have jars of urine?
So they just have mason jars or jugs, or something of urine, and where are they storing that? If they're your roommate, is it just sitting on the dining room table? Is it in their bathroom? That is weird.
And it's like recycled urine, right? Because if you drink your urine and pee your urine and you bottle your urine and then you drink it later, that's just, you're recycling your urine so many times.
That just sounds so bad.
That's pretty bad.
I think I'd almost rather be roommates with the guy who's in love with his doll than a guy who bathes in his own pee.
Yeah, I think even the smelling a baby doll head seems less weird compared to the urine one now.
I didn't think that at first, but you're right. Throw it at the top.
Yeah, at first when I said drinking urine, it's like, well, this seems pretty mundane. But the more you think about it, like you said, like a roommate, it's like uncomfortable.
Right. Interesting.
That makes it so much worse somehow.
Right. I also love how the drywall really is it's dead center in the list. It really is like the what's it called? Like the determining point, or you know what I mean? I can't think of the right word to use, but the drywall really is that reference point.
Point of determination. It really is.
Is it weirder than drywall? It's like when you play 20 questions. Is it bigger than a bread box?
That's always in there.
Yep.
Well, and it's strange to me because if you think about having to drink your own urine, you're like, I guess I could do that. It's like a survival thing. Bear Grylls does it. And it's like, it's not that weird. But then we put it in the context, it's your roommate. Oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And also, though, Bear Grylls is filtering it out and all that stuff before he drinks it. Imagine if we watched Survivor Man, or is that what that was called, or something like that?
That was.
Or was that the other one?
Just Survivor Man was the one with Les Stroud.
That's right, and that
Bear
was
Grylls
really
was just
him.
Adventures with Bear Grylls or something. I forget what
Bear
his
Grylls
was called.
So like imagine Bear Grylls.
It's called Bear Grylls.
He's talking to the camera, and he's like, and once I pee in this cup, and then he like pours it on his head. That's just so much weirder. So yeah, yeah. I think right now it's the weirdest, but we haven't heard number one yet. At least
number
on their
one
list.
On their list from Screen Crush is the infamous. I know you've heard this one. I think we've talked about this one before.
Can I guess?
The past. Go ahead, guess.
Is it the balloon?
It's not the balloons. We've talked about that one a lot. I'll give you a second guess.
Oh, the guy who's in love with his car.
It is Car Lover.
Nice. I remember this one too.
Number one on their list. It is. A lot of guys love their cars, but 27-year-old Nathaniel is in love with his car. He's been in a relationship with his Chevy Monte Carlo, which he has named Chase. And before you ask, yes, Nathaniel's having sex with his car.
Man, kudos to the staff over there. Okay. Before you mentioned the sex, I didn't think this was that awful weird. Just inherently.
Well, because it's kind of there with in love with a doll, but it's a car instead of doll. But then we have the confirmed sexual relations with the car, and it kind of becomes like much worse.
I would not want to be inside that car ever.
Trying to figure out, is it like in the exhaust or like what are we doing here? Like how do what are
how's
the
it
logistics?
actually working? Right.
I not that I want to
know.
see this, but I kind of want to see that. No.
Yeah, I kind of do too. Let's face it.
But it is his own car, and so it's your roommate, right?
Okay. Yep.
Just to be fair, start with drywall.
Yep, naturally.
I think your roommate making love with your car, or his own car, or eating drywall, which is weirder.
I think making love to a car is weirder than eating drywall.
All right. Your roommate's snorting baby powder, or your roommate's making love with their car.
I think it's weirder.
Which is the car?
Yeah.
Your roommate's in love with a doll that they take with them everywhere and rub their feet, or your roommate's making love with a car.
This is where it starts to get different for me. I'm not sure. I feel like, because think about this, my roommate, he's like, hey, I'm going to the garage for a bit. Just, I'm like, okay, do your thing, right? Like, he can have his privacy. I feel like that doll you can kind of take anywhere, and they would take the doll everywhere. So it's more in your face. And I'd kind of want to do this out of sight, out of mind thing with my roommate for this stuff. Like, you can do it, you do you, but don't put me in with this,
Like, I imagine the making love with your car is something you do privately in a garage or something. Like, they're not just parked on the side street somewhere, right? So, but like with the in love with a doll, they're taking it everywhere.
Could you imagine? It's just like he's got his... He just finished washing his car on a hot summer day out in the suburban neighborhood. It's looking really nice, and he's getting into it. He's just doing it out there in the neighborhood, and his neighbor, hey, Pete! He's just going for it. How about this weather we're having, huh?
God dang it, Carl! Take that home!
Take that back in the garage!
Wait, what was this kid, Nathaniel? God dang it, Nate! Go
Nate,
home!
I told you to stop banging your car out in the driveway!
Your car's pretty banged up. Oh, you know it.
You know it is.
Ka-chow.
Gave her the ride of her life. So I would say...
Actually, his life, I think. The Monte Carlo is named Chase. Yeah.
So he clearly goes fast.
Nathaniel and Chase. Yeah. Gotta go fast.
Gotta go fast. So what do you think compared to the doll?
Like, it's definitely weird, but it's something where, again, it's that you can do that privately versus the in love with a doll and the smelling baby doll head are both things that these people do, like, publicly. Like, they bring these things around with them. And that somehow is like the hurdle for me. I kind of think car lover, while definitely strange and uncomfortable, is kind of like out of sight, out of mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Then I'm with you. I think that's where we draw our line.
So, like, weirdly enough, as strange as it sounds, we think that car lover is not the weirdest thing on this list. And in fact, it's in between in love with a doll and snorting baby powder.
Yeah. It barely made the top half. Okay.
We have our list. We've compiled our list. We have 10 items, the top 10 strangest addictions according to Screen Crush from the first couple seasons of Strange Addictions. We've reordered them ourselves, starting with number 10, going least strange to strangest. We have eating a dead person. That's right. It's not that weird. Eating toilet paper, drinking nail polish, eating couch cushions, eating drywall, snorting baby powder, car lover, in love with a doll, smelling a baby doll head, and finally drinking urine being the weirdest thing here. It's really not even the drinking the urine. It was the bathing in urine that really got us.
Exactly. When you look at that list at first, it's just like when you first brought up drinking urine. I'm thinking, how is that the weirdest? But then you think about all that they're doing with it, and it gets pretty strange. So
all right. I'm glad we did this.
Well, I think there's one key takeaway now. When we have to rank things on a level of strangeness, you and I can now ask, is this stranger than eating drywall? We have a reference point, like just a little secret language between you and me now. We can ask that now.
We really can't. Drywall literally is number 5 on our list. It's literally halfway.
It's a good reference point. I really do think that. Is it weirder than eating drywall?
Or wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6 on our list, technically.
But either way, kind of right there in the middle. I think, I'm going to remember that. And before I judge somebody doing something weird, I will ask, is this weirder than eating drywall?
I think that's a good measurement tool to
I really do.
Decide to kick out your roommate. Thank you all so much for listening. Oh, you have one more thought?
No, it's okay. I was just going to ramble on. You're fine. Thank people for listening.
Thank you all so much for listening. Do you agree with our list? Let us know on Twitter, Instagram, or TikTok, or YouTube. We're on the social medias at Profoundish Pod. We are on YouTube as Profoundish. We're on Spotify and Apple. Forgot how to say Apple there for a second. As Profoundish. Give us a follow, a subscribe, a like, a 5 stars. Leave us a comment or a review. Certainly helps. And where can we find you, Alex?
You can find everything I do on alexduquette.net, as Weston says. It's my little landing page for everything that I do. I make music. I make cartoon theme song medleys. And speaking of music, definitely check out my album, Songs from Sangamon Street, available on physical CD. You can pick that up at Amazon or directly on the website. So check out all the stuff I do. What about you, Weston?
You can find me. I have a website, westonhasty.com. That's my landing page for all the things that I do. In particular, I'm most active on my gaming YouTube channel called Magic Man Mo. Give that a check. If you have a fixation for haiku poetry, I have a poetry blog over at hastilymadedecision.com. Go give that a follow. Yeah, I don't shout that out a lot. Go read a haiku.
You should. They're nice little haikus. There's some that actually really resonate with me lately that you've been posting, at least as the time of recording this.
Thank you. I've been posting them on Instagram.
Yes, and that's like my main social media thing, so I love seeing them. And like he'll put like little music in the background and like some sort of like imagery as well. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah. Whatever you all do, thank you all so much for listening. And until next time, bye.
Don't forget to eat your drywall.
Chew it up. Spit it out.
Chew it up, spit it out. Do it again. Bathe in urine and eat a dead person. Bye. What is that?
That was a callback to making weird sounds at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, nice. That was a deep cut.